In this lesson, we're going to talk about 5 ways you can use different kinds of adhesives on your project. So on my layout that I have here, I've used several different kinds of adhesive. We have used some adhesive to add glitter to these foam letters. We've used double-sided adhesive to create this die-cut shape. We've also used some adhesive to stick the vellum down so that you can't see the adhesive behind it. And we've also made our own epoxy embellishments using some glossy accents. And we've used some foam adhesive to pop our photos. And then we'll use washi tape instead of pattern paper for our page. For this technique, we're going to use glossy accents to create our own epoxy embellishments. So very simply, you just need a bottle of glossy accents and your favorite stickers. So I have some plain cardstock stickers here, and it's just a matter of adding the glossy accents onto the sticker. One thing you do want to be careful of is not to have a lot of bubbles as you do this, otherwise you'll have bubbles in your accents at the end. So I'm going to go ahead with some of these hearts, and I'm just going to leave them on the sticker sheet and very carefully add the glossy accents inside the shape. The more you add, the thicker your epoxy will be later. So you just want to keep that in mind. And you want to keep a nice even consistency as you squeeze the bottle. Otherwise you will get those air bubbles. If you have a little pin, you can easily use that to pop out any tiny little bubbles you come across. You can also remove them from the sheet. I'll do that here. And do it on a craft mat like this if you're worried that it's going to stick to your backing. And you can always just add a blob, as I call it, and then move it around with the little end of the bottle here, just to spread it out. But again, you just want to be careful you don't get a lot of air bubbles. And I find the lower that you get in the bottle, the more bubbles you'll get. So just keep an eye on that when you're doing this later on. And of course, the more you use, the more chance of bubbles you have. Now these do take some time to dry, so you'll want to start this at the beginning of your project and then set it aside. Doesn't take too long, but it also depends on how much glossy accents that you've used. So just make sure that you've prepared yourself for that drying time. So as you can see, once it's dried, you can see that there's a shiny surface to these stickers that I have here on my page, and any shape, any sticker you have will work great for this. So just add a little foam adhesive to the back and it'll pop them up and make it like a 3D embellishment also. For this technique, we're going to use glossy accents to modify a pre-made sticker. So in this case, we're going to take this die-cut word sticker and we're going to create it in a different color using glossy accents and some glitter. So quite simply, you just want to open up your glossy accents and you want to apply a thin, even layer. The more you squeeze on, the more chance you have of bubbles. So you want to take your time with this one and get a good coating over the whole shape of the die-cut word. I'm going to leave this on the backing. It doesn't have to be super neat. You just want to have a nice even coating because wherever you miss the glue, you'll miss the glitter later. So you really want to make sure that you get a good coat of the glossy accents. And the more you put, the longer time it takes to dry. So there's really no reason to add a really, really thick layer to this. Just enough to cover all of the word. The reason I'm using the glossy accents is it's very strong glue. It's really going to hold that glitter in. You'll have very little glitter coming off later on. You may have some, but it's going to hold, for the most part, most of the glitter onto your word. I'm just going to make sure I have it all covered. And then really carefully now, just going to trim it off this backing, because if not, I'm going to have glitter over all these other words, and I don't want that. So now it's really just a matter of adding glitter over top of the word here. You want to have a nice coat, cover everything up. You can always dump this glitter back in later, so don't worry about that. And you want to gently just shake off your excess. And you'll want to set this aside to dry. You can see here on my final project that that's how I did with this title. I've added the glitter, I've let it dry completely, and actually because of the way it's dried on the sheet, I added a little bit of adhesive underneath the letters to stick it back on the page. Sometimes the glitter gets underneath and it kind of takes away the tackiness from the sticker, so you may have to use a little bit of the same glossy accents afterwards. That adds a really bold impact to your project. For this technique, we're going to use double-sided adhesive to make our own embellishment. You can use what I have used here, which is a silhouette double-sided adhesive, but you can also use any double-sided adhesive and get a very similar look, but obviously the shape would be different. So all I've gone ahead and done is die cut a heart shape on my digital die cut machine with the double-sided adhesive sheets. So really easy way to add some glitter to your project. You just peel off the top layer. I'll do this to a couple. And that will leave the top layer of the double-sided adhesive open, so it will accept the glitter and you'll leave the back end on. So I'm just going to go ahead now that I've peeled it off and just load it with lots of glitter. And this, I'll just add this back in like that. You can lift it up and you can see there's a really good coverage of glitter on there. Now I use a paper piercer for this to get the backing of the double-sided sticker off. And I'm just going to very gently peel it up. And now you have your own glittery heart shape that you can add to your layout like I did in this section here. For this technique, I'm going to show you how you can adhere vellum without having any adhesive showing through the back side. So the first way is probably the easiest way, is just to have some punch circle shapes or any other shape you have and run them through a Xyron sticker machine. To do that, you just have your shape, you load it in the top, and you quite simply peel through the back. Once you have that, you just want to give it a gentle rub and open it up. And now you have your own sticker. So you can see on white cardstock, once you put it down, you can't see the adhesive at all behind that. So it's a really, really easy way. If you have a smaller shape of vellum, that you can add that to your project. If you have a larger shape and a vellum like these circles here and you want to add them, I use just a little bit of Glossy Accents. You don't want to use a lot, you want to use just a very small amount, and I just flip it to the back side, a very tiny, tiny amount, and spread it around just very lightly. Flip it over, and you want to just push down to distribute that Glossy Accents evenly underneath your vellum. And as you can see on my project, you cannot see where the Glossy Accents was used to stick down the vellum. So it's a really, really two simple ways to get that vellum to see through so that you're not having a bunch of gloppy glue behind. For this technique, we are going to use washi tape instead of pattern paper on our project. So as you can see here on my layout, I've already gone ahead and added some washi tape strips. And very simply, you can just peel these off the backing. You can even rip them in half, and then you just add them right to an area on your project and lie them down. These ones in particular are see-through, so it even adds a more transparency to your layout. There's other ones that you can use, or even rolls of washi tape that are more opaque, like this one here. But same process, you just rip it off. You could, I'm going to tuck mine in a little strip, but you could add large strips, smaller strips, whatever you'd really like. It's an easy, easy way to get some washi onto your project. Another technique is, on my photos here, is to make them kind of pop off the page a little bit. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I do it probably on every layout that I create. And that's quite simply by taking your photos and adding foam adhesive to the back. I really like the thick foam adhesive, that's my favorite, like these ones here. And I like to add just a circle or a square to each corner. And you can see that it adds just a nice lift on your page here. You can add it allows you to add clips underneath and other little embellishments. You can tuck things under a little bit easier, and it really makes your photos stand out. So no matter what you have going on in the background of your page, your photos should be your main focus. So that's it for this technique, and those are 5 great ways to use adhesives on your projects.